Um, there we go. Welcome, welcome. All right. Yay, look at this. I love seeing all these people coming in here. Nice. Great, great, great. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We are gonna get started right away. I just want to welcome everybody in this morning. I will let our facilitators in the morning, they'll present, introduce themselves. I'm a little out of work when it comes to doing webinars. It's probably been a solid year and a half since I've done one of these, so I've lost that rhythm. So I apologize. But I would like to welcome everybody in this morning. Thanks for joining us for the Workplace Safety and Education Information session. There is a lot of content that we are going to go over in the next hour. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it off and let Darcy get us started. If anybody has any questions, the Q&A is open, so feel free to pop those into the Q&A area. I think the chat should be open for you as well. So if you do have anything you'd like to speak about, you can actually connect with the presenters directly. So if you had any questions for Darcy or for Marianne or for her team, which is Devin and Maria, you can reach out to them directly through chat. But any questions you have, please, please, please use the Q&A. They will get answered in this time that we have set aside. And then if for some reason we are not able to answer the questions within the hour of time, we will answer those questions and send them back out to you in a follow-up email. So, all right, Darce, get us started.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for being here. First of all, thank you, MassMEP, for hosting this. It's really important for our businesses in Massachusetts to understand what I think is the best kept secret here in the state of Massachusetts. And thank you to Marianne and her team at the Department of Industrial Accidents, now called Safety Works, for teaming up to share this information and get it out across the board. My name is Darcy Cook, and I have been doing safety for a really long time. And what is great about what we're talking about today is I've had the benefit, my clients have had the benefit, and I've had the privilege of working with the Department of Industrial Accidents over the last 20 years because our clients choose to engage with the DIA and apply for these funding sources that we're going to be this funding source that we're going to be talking about today. So I've got a secret, and the secret is, right, the best kept secret for me in the state of Massachusetts is this conversation that we're having right now. I'm so glad that you found this link and that you're attending this webinar. And for some of you, you might be returning, right? We call you coming back for the second round. The great thing about the Department of Industrial Accidents program is that you can be a second time recipient, a third time recipient. Now, there's some rules to that, and we'll talk about it. But literally, you're here to find out about what most Massachusetts companies don't know. Like, you're first to hear about it, which means great. You should be grabbing a hold of this money as quick as you possibly can. Now, no other state that I can find offers anything like what we offer here in the state of Massachusetts. So small businesses operating in the state of Massachusetts, it's an advantage, a benefit way above the other states around us in New England. The problem is that number one, you guys are mandated to do safety related training. Number two, sometimes your staff isn't qualified or comfortable teaching the topics that need to be taught. Number three, money's always an issue, but you might have to outsource and hire a third party to come in and do these trainings for you. And I can tell you from years of working with small businesses, most of you don't have safety as a line item in your budget. So you don't have a budget set aside for safety training. You're mandated to do it by law. You might not be able to get away with doing it with some additional staff, right? And your staff is already busy. You hired them as a full-time job, and now you're adding safety to the to-do list, which is typically always the topic that we have in small businesses, how to sustain safety in a small business world when you don't actually have a safety officer on your team. And so again, this program that we're about to talk about is going to be a solution to some of these problems for you. Now, I can tell you one thing, prevention always costs less. So although we are a training provider, we're one of many training providers that you guys get to choose from. But we also are the person that you guys are calling when OSHA shows up. When the Department of Labor comes knocking at your door and when OSHA comes knocking at your door, we get the phone call and we're helping you to manage the investigation, do the training that you're required to do now in a very fast, quick, scheduled timeline, and you're paying for cash out of pocket. We're talking about you guys being able to take advantage of a program now in advance, do your compliance training, create a safer, healthier work environment for your employees, and get it reimbursed. That is a win-win across the board. So let me show you a couple slides that talk about the before and after related to your impact and costs. So if you are part of the executive team or the owner of a company right now, what you have to understand is that you are required by law, 900 pages, 3.5 inches of a book of laws to make sure that you create a safe and healthy work environment for your employees. Well, that includes policies, procedures, trainings, facility inspections, routinely updating and changing all of those pieces. And so today, in a slew of to-do lists, I come to you with a solution to your training challenge. Now, the after part of this is, let's just say OSHA does show up, an employee complaints, someone gets hurt, maybe your name gets pulled out of the hat randomly. Next slide, Haley. You're going to see that the after effect is that you have to do all the same things that you should have done today. You now have to do them faster and quicker. And again, you're paying cash out of pocket to get all of this done. So we in addition to the cost of getting everything up to speed in terms of compliance, you're now also paying citations for the things that you were cited on in the investigation. And hopefully we don't have a serious injury of an employee, which would be workers' comp claims or even lawsuits. So when I say to you, prevention costs less, and if you are overwhelmed and you don't know where to begin, I'm inviting you to take the first step today in your safety program. That first step today is focusing on reducing the risk or likelihood that you'll have injuries in your workplace. And by doing that, you're going to get on board with safety training for your company. Now, as a business owner, you guys typically see everything above the line. You see the tip of the iceberg, right? The insurance costs, maybe the new hire onboarding, maybe the overtime that you have to pay, the injury related costs, the workers' comp claims when there's an injury. But take a look at everything below that line. Those are all of the things, because again, remember, you don't typically have safety as a line item in your budget. So you have to pull funding and resources from someplace in the cash flow, and you're pulling it in more than one area. Like all these areas add up. There's a ripple effect to injury that basically small businesses end up struggling with, right? It becomes a problem. So next, safety health management system. You guys, safety is a big elephant. We're not going to take and eat it in one bite, right? An elephant is a big elephant. You got to eat it one bite at a time. Today, we're not going to do everything. Today, I want to break it down. You know, when you see a really big, tall staircase and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I getting to the top? You know how you do it? One step at a time. So here's the step we're inviting you to take today. We're taking you to focus on your training requirements that your business has. Now, two manufacturers are not created the same. Okay, so you guys can be in the same neighborhood, creating the same product, but you guys will not be the same. So training should be specific to the hazards of your workplace, and they should be specific to what you're doing, the way you're doing it, with the tools and resources that you're doing. And sometimes you need it in more than one language. So here we go. State of Massachusetts, what I call the best kept secret in all of state of Massachusetts. And you guys have 3 obstacles that you need to overcome. Ready, Haley? Click, click, click. Obstacles number 1, no money, no time. Keep going, girlfriend. Obstacle number 3, not the right people on the bus. So here's what we've got. What if you had a way to get funding sources? Number 1, the application, super simple process. A team of people to support you to get through this application process. Number 2, a list of training providers, right? There are many training providers out there. You can name more than one trainer in your grant. And the Department of Industrial Actions makes recommendations right on the website when you start to interview and get to know the different training providers, us included, to see if we're a right fit for your team. They basically give you hundreds of topics to choose from, okay? And then on top of that, you have the flexibility of scheduling the trainings later. So basically, fill out the application, get approved, and then work with your training providers to choose the best days and the best times to get your training scheduled. And for us, the best part of this whole thing is because we don't like boring. And the Department of Industrial Accidents loves on-site, hands-on learning experiences. So they're not paying for, boring generic stuff. You're getting the very best of every training provider that you put into your application. So here's the solution. Solution number one, you need to learn. I cannot wait to introduce you to Marianne Falvey and her team in a second. You need to learn about this funding source, and you need to take full advantage of it if you are a business in the state of Massachusetts. Solution number two. Again, I told you have lots of training providers to choose from. I'm thankful that I got to chit chat with you guys today. I hope that you look us up, Cook Professional Resources, as a potential training provider. As mentioned, most of the training providers on the website that you're going to look up, we've worked with lots of them. There's plenty of room for everyone in the sandbox, and we can't all be experts in everything. So let's choose the right training providers for the right job as we put this together. And then last but not least, our team. We have a team. We've been fortunate to have a lot of clients who have been blessed with getting these funding sources. So we are very familiar with the Department of Industrial Accidents team, their team, their mission, their vision, the expectations of using the money and how they want that money to be used. So you're going to be well supported. We're also not boring. We love what we do every single day. But here's my biggest concern for you guys hearing this webinar today is I need you to take immediate action. You're about to find out that this application is only going to be open from June 1st to June 30th. I need you getting ready today. And then once you do apply, it's crazy. You guys, you apply for the funding source, you get the money, and then we go to schedule the trainings. And I can tell you from years of doing this that there are companies who literally don't get around to using the money, free money for mandated stuff. And those companies eventually call us and they're eventually paying cash out of pocket for something because they pushed it aside. Don't be that company. Don't be that company that calls us because you didn't do what you could have done now and had a funding source to support it. So get the application in, choose what you want, get the money, hallelujah, schedule those classes, and then get that training done. It's a very structured format. You can plan in advance. You can work with your training instructors now to get ready for FY 2027, right? So the end of this year into the beginning of next year. There's no reason for you not to be ready to go when that funding source comes to you. You've applied for it. You've got it. Now let's use it. So I want to say thank you to Marianne. Thank you to MassMEP for putting all this again together. Thank you for letting me share my perspective as a training provider who's had the opportunity to work with clients and work with the Department of Industrial Accidents. But the best part of this webinar is about to happen right now because you want to know what to do, how to do it. Does it apply to you? What are the rules? And I will tell you, it's not complicated. This is the simplest grant that we've ever worked with. So I would like to hand this over to Marianne Falvey, the Director of Safety Works at the Department of Industrial Accidents, supported by her two awesome staff people who have been there a really long time. We love them, Devin and Maria.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to MassMEP. And you are definitely one of the best. We work with safety trainers all the time. And I will tell you, Darcy's group is definitely not boring. And they are, in my opinion, one of the best. So good morning, everyone. I'm Marianne Falvey, the Director at the Office of Safety. With me are my two team members, Devin Awald and Maria Pisantes. And we do everything we can to marshal you through this grant process. During the closeout of the grant, we will be here for you should you wish to partake, and we certainly hope that you do. I'll tell you a little bit about the grant. I'm going to walk through my slides, but really focus on the stuff that's more important to you and the things that you will care about. A little bit of background. I come from an industry. I come from the insurance industry on the other side of the desk as a claims adjuster and risk manager myself. So I've seen the impact that injuries have both on the body of the person that's injured and the company. So we are all very much aware of all the things that Darcy talked about, the flip side or the stuff below the line. And we would like to help you prevent that. We love working with companies that are focused on keeping people safe in the jobs that they do. And that's what our grant focuses on. A little bit of background history about the grant. It was created in 1989. It has unfortunately or fortunately had the same level of funding since that time. We have a budget of $800,000, but we work really hard to make sure that everybody applies for the grant, that qualifies, that complies, gets some money. I don't know how much, usually our requests are someplace between $2.5 to $3 million every year. But if you request money, you will get some money as long as you're compliant. You may not get everything you requested, but you will get something that you need. And the grants turn over during the year. So if you are available and open to it, as Darcy has said, unfortunately, some people never use their money, and we redistribute that money throughout the year. The maximum that you can request for the grant application to receive is $25,000. I want to say rarely we give it out to one particular organization. We like consortium grants where people get together, but we work really hard to make sure that everybody gets something. As Darcy noted, we have a very short application window. It is the June 1st to June 30th. A portal will open up on our website, and you will have 30 days to complete and submit your grant. If you could flip the slide, Haley. We fall under the Department of Industrial Accidents. The grant is established by the legislature. These are things that you need to understand, and we talk about it. It's a $25,000 grant maximum and an $800,000 budget. But we are focused on really prevention and resolution of existing claims programs. So we are a reimbursement grant. We pay you after the work is done, after the training is taken place. Our contract is with you, not with your provider. Things that you want to know about: training is conducted only in Massachusetts by a Massachusetts licensed provider. They have to be working in the state of Massachusetts compliant. They have to be licensed or an expert in what it is that they train in. The training has to relate directly to the job that the people are performing. So we are not the grant that's going to get you your CDL license. We may be the grant that will help you keep your people safe in learning to drive better. And we're focused on two things, as I said: preventing injuries. So we do a lot of preventative work, but we also do a lot of work in sort of reclaiming your lost history. So you have a history of slip and falls, or you have a problem with, God forbid, electrocution. We can focus on over 100 programs, and we are open to you being able to create a program. Oftentimes, Darcy will go to somebody and say, okay, you need a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they will customize the program, and we will work with you to make sure that your training fits your needs. So we are very open. But a little bit about our rules. As of June 30th, the portal closes. If you haven't submitted, you don't get in this year. And all reimbursement back to you and billing to us has to be completed by June 15th. We work on Massachusetts funding program. So we will begin FY27 July 1st. So preparation is for July 1st. We are closing out FY26, and you basically get 6 months to complete the grant. I'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. If you could do the next slide. So some of the exclusions that you need to know about, which probably don't apply to most of you here: police, firefighters, state or federal employees, they're under a different workers' comp code. So they don't apply to 152, Chapter 152. You have to have workers' comp insurance in Massachusetts. So the Jones Act or longshoremen and stuff, those folks fall under different specifications. They don't apply to our grant. We don't pay for things like wages, stipends, reimbursements, parking, traveling. We don't do a lot of retraining on topics previously funded the prior year. So if you did lockout, tagout last year, you're probably not going to get lockout, tagout from us this year, Unless, or you say, Marianne, we have all new employees that need this program, then we listen and talk to you, but we always listen and talk to you. We don't do developmental administrative programs that, as Darcy said, you need, like compliance policy, procurement, procedural training. Darcy's group does that, but it's not what our grant is about. We don't cover overhead. Utilities. Last year, somebody asked us to buy a 75-inch screen TV. That's not this grant. But we will try and keep your employees safe in the work that they do, and we will work with you to do that. We're committed to do that, to be there for everybody. Next slide, please. Haley, could you hit? Oh, there we go. Some of the things that you're going to need, and it's really basic stuff. You're going to need your fine number. You're going to need your registered name registered with the Secretariat. If you have a DBA, we need to know that too, because you may come up differently in this system. The number of employees that are based in Massachusetts. This is all on the basic form, which are all online. You may have an authorized signatory for the grant agreements and a grant administrator that may be different people. So somebody that can sign on behalf of the organization, that can sign a contract agreement, and then somebody that's going to be responsible to dealing with us with the grant. You will need your DOR certificate and your Department of Unemployment Assistance and a combines number. Those things are all fast links on our website. You could click on them and get them done now, download them onto your system, and when the time comes, upload them into ours. We don't do checks. You do an EFT, and the state reimburses you. Right now, they're actually working between 24 and 48 hours, I'm very happy to say, with getting people their funding. You get me an invoice, and if the materials that need to be attached to that invoice, for instance, I will go into your sign-in sheets are there. Everything looks good. We electronically submit to them. They pay you back 24, 48 hours. Knock on wood. That's where we are right now. So I'm very proud of their ability to turn over, because we work with different agencies. This is the high level review of overview. You know, you do the application online in the portal. You gather the necessary information. This afternoon or tomorrow, the FY27 documents will be loaded onto our system. So you could go in and do them now, put them on your computer, and when the time comes, load them into our system. When the time does come, you will need to go on into the portal and register your company, and you will receive a company ID. If you are a repeat offender, and I hope you are, and I say it with love, your ID will come up in the system, so that part won't be necessary. You will have your ID. You need to follow the instructions for pages 1 through 8. Page 8 is the upload, so it's really pages 1 through 7. And you need to complete the compliance and contractual documents. So in our system for this grant, there are 3 entities that participate and work as one outside of your trainers. There's us at the DIA that run the program. There are compliance and procurement that issue the documents, which are listed on our site, but they do all the background checks. They make sure that you are basically insured in Massachusetts, that you are in Massachusetts, that you have workers' comp insurance, that you have unemployment insurance. And oftentimes there may be a little lag time with you getting something current, because it needs to be within 60 days of the application. So I suggest anybody that wants to comply, that is interested in submitting an application for FY27, and we hope it's everyone, that you go on and hit the portal information this week or so and start the process, because it takes the state 20 to 30 days to get the documents to you, and they email them to you. And then you need your DOR and DUA, which are on our website, and EFT, that's how you get your money, your W-9, and you need to go on Combines, and you need to get a number, because the Commonwealth of Massachusetts requires everybody that does business to have a number associated with being able to do business in the state. And you need a CASL. And the CASL document is the corporate document that says these people can sign contract for this grant between the company and the state. It's very simple. And then you need to submit your application in our portal, and you get your number in line. And you can go back and forth with that application anytime, as many times as you need to in those 30 days. But by midnight on the 30th, like, the Wizard of Oz, the portal closes. And if you haven't submitted and got your number, we'll see you in FY28. And there's no way getting around it. It closes. We have 30 days. Next slide, please. So this is just a list of what goes on in the background. These are the documents and the compliance and procurement checks that the Office of Safety, in conjunction with Compliance and Procurement, C&P, are doing as you are in the process of submitting your grant and waiting to see if you pass these checks. Most people do. Next slide, please. This is a list of some of the topics. There's only 130 of them listed, but as we said, we can mix and match, and Darcy can create what we need to create as long as it relates to the work that someone is doing in their job. And if you need something specific, I mean, I've seen them create programs that a little bit of this, a little bit of that. As long as it works for you, it probably will work for us. We're very, very agreeable to helping whatever we can do to help you get through this process and to make sure the process works for you. I will pat my team on the back. Maria and Devin provide some of the best, I think, customer service in the industry. If you make a phone call or an email to us, you're going to get an answer. It's not going to be an AI bot that writes to you. We don't even have that. We have live people. Next slide. And sometimes we become too live for you, especially if you haven't spent your money. But that's a different subject. This is just a little bit of what we did in 2024 because I can't post 25 yet. We basically hit all of the counties with the exception of Dukes and Nantucket, who somehow don't want our money, but everybody else got money. And we awarded the year before 135 grants, all of the money, average cost at $112 per person. It's really hard for you to do the kind of training that we offer at the cost that these trainers are willing to give it to you for because you're working with us in the grant. It is a wonderful opportunity to get some basic stuff done. Next slide. We used to be the Workplace Safety Grant. We are now Safety Works. We've been renamed and rebranded and are working with DSL, but it's all good. Next slide. And we're going to do a little bit of what you need to know before you begin. You want to know about your history, your mission, and your goals. Here's what we really care about. We care about your story. What makes you tick? Why do you want this grant or need this grant? And how are you going to spend the money? How are we going to help you? We look at the compellingness of the grant. I made a decision when I came to run the grant 5 years ago that everybody would get money as long as you're compliant. So it's only been one instance where we were told by the powers to be that we couldn't fund the grant, and that was because they were non-compliant. And outside of that, we've done hundreds of grants. Next slide, please. I want to get to the part where this is just informational. Next slide, where we talk a little bit about what you're going to see. Where you will probably spend the most of your time is the budget narrative. And again, this is what are you going to spend the money on? How does it relate to the work people are doing? Don't ask us for a CDL license. I keep saying it. We get it every year. It's like, we're not that grant. But we can teach your people how to drive. We can do lockout, tagout, electrical, confined space, bloodborne pathogens, first aid, keeping people safe at work, mental health in terms of stress. We don't say the word stress. We say, who's coming to work? How would you know if you're at risk? This year, it represents 20% of what people have been asking for. There's the fear factor at work, knowing whether or not an employee is at risk. How would you de-stress? How would you make your workplace safer emotionally for your employees? Physically and emotionally have now become two pieces that work together with our grant, which is new for us. 2 years ago, it started becoming a problem. We see a lot of active shooter, which is your worst day, but there's a lot of stuff that comes before that may prevent a stressful moment from turning into a catastrophic moment. So we address that. We allow that in this grant, and you don't find that in a lot of different places. Next slide, please, Haley. Pardon me. This is some of what you're going to see. This is page 1. And this is basically fill in and save. You hit the save button at the bottom of the page, and then you go to next, and it scrolls you through the 8 pages, the 7 pages. If you could go to the next slide. Your address. This is basic stuff that doesn't take you time. Next slide, please. A grant administrator, that's the point person that's going to deal with our team. We need to make sure that we have a phone number and an email that works. If you would, please. Next slide. I want to talk a little bit about consortium grants. You may be a small concern and you may have 2 or 3 employees in your whatever department, but you may have a sister company or a neighbor company or belong to an organization like MassMEP that might put together a grant where multiple companies come under one roof or under one group. One company takes the lead and other companies may fall underneath that. There's no limit to the number of companies that can fall underneath it. And we're able to give you more money and more training that way. So please explore that opportunity with MassMEP, with safety trainers, with anybody that you feel fit, because it is a bigger opportunity to do more with less. We love consortium grants. Next slide, please. Here's where you're going to tell us. A lot of people cut and paste their mission statement in this. We find that it's okay to do that, but we really would like to know a little bit about what it is that makes you different and your history. Next slide. This is where you'll spend some time when you're going to add a class and pick a topic. And this will tell us where you're going to spend the money. It's sort of self-explanatory. You may not know the number of attendees at this point. Most people don't. You can guess, hey, we'd like to train 50 people. 20 people might show up. Now, if we give you money for 50 people and 5 people show up, we might have an issue. But it's rare that it happens. We understand that changes happen all the time. We will talk to you throughout this process after we get your application, during your application if you have questions, and then during the scheduling. You may say to me, Marian, look at, we applied, we asked for $20,000, and I might have to knock on the door and say, I can only give you 10. How would you like to spend it? You put in for these classes, pick 2, 3, 4, whatever, based on what we have. We try and give everybody something. Might not be everything you want, but it will be something that you need. Next slide, please. And this is, a little bit of survey question. We'd like to see people respond so we know what part of the marketplace we are hitting. And if you can give us some information, that's great. We have other in there. Next year, it won't be there. You'll have to answer the question. But for now, we can be pliable. Next slide. Training topics, there's 149. So to pick from, and pick one. And if you need to modify something, you can modify something as we go along. I would probably say 30%, 30 to 40% during the grant year require some modifications. Gee, we thought we were going to be able to do this. Things have changed. We really need this instead. Can you change the class? Would you consider it? We do it all the time. Next slide. We understand real life changes. This is the budget summary. This is where you're going to spend your time. You might want to do this on your own computer in a Word document. Play with it a little bit. Write your story. This is what we're like. This is what we'd like to do. This is what we're seeking. This is why. And then you can cut it and paste it into here. So AI is a great thing, and you can send it to us and work it on you. I would do as much of this in my own computer on a Word document as possible and cut and paste it in if you really want to cut your time down. Next slide. And this is the last page. This is your upload of the documents that will be posted on our system. You can complete them all now and be ready to do this. Like I said, where you will spend your time is your budget. Think about what you want to train and prioritize what that training needs to be. Number 1 through 5, this is what I'd like to do. This is what we really need to do and have to do. If I have to cut, this is where I'm going to cut. This is where I'm willing to cut. Because we will call everybody that's getting money during this process and say to you, hey, I can give you everything that you want, or I can give you a few things that you need. But everybody gets a call. And then we sit and wait. So a little bit about our process. We have the 30 days to take applications with you, and then we look at them during the month of June. During the month of June, we also closing out the prior year. So we are accepting new applications for FY27. We are closing out FY26 and chasing the people that haven't spent their money yet, because I don't leave a dime or a penny on the table during that time frame. Then we take the months of July and August to go through these applications. Last year we had 172, 160 people made it through the application, meaning that the rest of them didn't finish their applications. They sat in the portal and stayed in the portal. But we gave out, of the 160 people that made it through, 160 grants. We submit every year the second week in September, right after Labor Day, and then we begin the countdown. And the countdown goes like this. We submit, goes to the secretariat that we report to, which is EOLWD. Their team reviews it. When they sign off on it, they may have questions for us or whatever. We go back and forth with them a little bit. It gets pushed to the governor. The governor's committee looks at it. They massage it a little bit. They send it back to the secretary. They send it back to us, and then we contact you. Last year, that took a good 12 weeks. We are hoping that we can shorten that process, but we are in the waiting game along with you. I will tell you honestly, this year people got 6 months. They got January till June. If you plan correctly or with some foresight and put a place card with your trainer beginning February, I will tell you, you will probably be safe. We usually have the money before Christmas or sometime in January. People got funded between Christmas and January 15th this year. But if you plan for that and get your date on the calendar and say to safety trainers, we want you March 15th. If all goes well, they will work with you. I'm speaking for Darcy, but I've seen Darcy work, so I know. And you will have your date safe. You'll have your training safe. And if we have to modify the training, we will modify the training. Next slide. I'm at the end of my rope. I am. But we are open to any questions, any assistance. You can reach me. My phone number is there. My email is there. The state has my phone number at this point in time because my work cell doesn't work anymore. So you have my private phone number if you need it. And Devin and Maria are accessible too. I would implore you to reach out to us with any questions you may have. Reach out to Darcy, MassMEP. We are here to assist you. Start now if you want to apply, and we sure hope you do, because we're here to help you.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. I'm just gonna circle back around again. There were some Q&A, Maria, super quick on the draw in there and is like answering away. So, which one of the questions you did answer, Marianne? So it says, understanding the application window, and then when do they typically hear back? So I think what we can kind of judge is it could take upwards of a 12-week period from when you submit your application to, could be less, could be more. We're working with the state here, and if any of you
Right.
know and have done any, whether it's through ComCorn, you've done the workforce training funds, you all are pretty familiar with how the process works. So if you're doing DIA, if you're going to go through their safety, collecting funds from them that they're offering, it is very similar to how ComCorn works with the workforce training funds. And then the other question was, you mentioned that the DIA doesn't usually fund training on topics previously funded. Does that include topics that require annual refresher training, such as bloodborne pathogens? And Maria replied back very, we'll say, politically correct, in that we'll fund those same topics for any employees who are new to them. So let's reinforce the who are new to them. So pretty sure that there's always going to be somebody in the organization that is going to be new to needing to learn about bloodborne pathogens. So I'm sure if Darcy would be able to back me up on this, she'll say everybody should probably know that anyway, whether they are at the top, whether they're in the middle, or whether they're on the shop floor. Everybody should be included in that. Nobody should be excluded from anything regarding safety at all. So those are the two questions that came up. Great. Thank you, Maria, for jumping in and answering those. So I just wanted to share them out in case anybody didn't hear about those. A couple of the other highlights when it comes to the consortium, we've seen a lot of those in the past, and they do make a lot of sense. We've been able to have a group of, in our world, we work with the manufacturers. So there's been times where we've seen groups of manufacturers come together over a specific topic, maybe because one manufacturer could have one or two seats filled, another maybe be able to fill 4 or 5 seats. So in order for it to make sense and to use the full value of the dollar back to the DIA for the funding, work towards that and start. You have time now, which is why we try to get this into you ahead of time so you can kind of start working through that and saying, okay, I'm in this, maybe it could be some of the manufacturers we work with and they reach out and say, hey, or if they're we do have a membership program. So if they're in our CEO roundtable or if they're in our peer learning sessions, we'll let you know about these items. These come up in our newsletters as well to say, hey, listen, get together, get a couple of manufacturers together, reach out to Darcy and say, hey, look, this is what we're looking at doing. Her team is exceptional as well in getting you organized and sorted and saying, listen, I've got this group, and this group. We have 2 extra seats open. Would you be interested in pooling this all together? So that is the goal and what they try to do, which is what Marianne is saying, and being able to stretch those dollars just a little bit further. But consortium grants are really a great way to spend every single penny, because she will not leave a penny on the table or a dime. So making sure that we do burn through that money. I don't know if people realize this, but it's actually your money. Like you're
Goodness.
actually putting into this. So this is from the funds that you put in for workers' comp, which is why you have to show your certificate of good standing. So if you are a viable company that owned and operates in Massachusetts that has a certificate of good standing, along with other certifications that are required by the DIA, you're paying into this. So the number one thing we always say is use your money. Use your money that you've already contributed into this and find another way to make it make sense for you to return that value almost twofold. The last thing you need is to have a situation occur. OSHA comes in, you get fined, and it's even more dollars that go underneath that iceberg, right? They're at the bottom, down at the very bottom of that iceberg where you're not thinking that part through. So it's very circular in the matter of knowing that everybody on your team should really have some form of training. If everybody's new to a new topic, you can get that training. You can use funds that you contribute to. So why not just keep following this circle every year? The goal for us is to make sure that at some point, this will be a pretty quick session where it'll be 15 minutes. We get in and out of here because everybody's so used to and knows and understands that this is the process. The $800,000 is what the DIA caps it at for each individual. We'll say the cap's at 25. Is that correct, Marianne? So that's the
That is for
most you
each
can
grant,
request.
correct.
Okay. Yeah. But if you do the consortium grants, I'm just saying that 25 might end up being might stretch a little bit farther if you do it the right way with the consortium. So I would say those are the biggest highlights that we want everybody to remember and coming back and reaching out. The QR code goes right to the DIA
Website.
Safety Works. Yep, goes right to your website. So if anybody has any questions, Darcy's website is Safety Trainers. Is it .com, Darcy?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. There's your her website as well. So I'll keep this is and her phone number. So I would get your cell phone out, take a screenshot of that and keep it. Again, like Darcy said, obviously there are plenty of other organizations. We have Darcy jump into this with us because, well, we've been working with Darcy for many, many years. We have a lot of manufacturers that we work very closely with. And so actually Darcy is how we got introduced to Marianne and was able to bring this forward to everybody, specifically the manufacturers in the state. And now our goal is just to make sure that as many businesses can use this money as possible. And if it's a manufacturer, that works even better for us. So I think anything else, any other highlights, anything that we missed or questions? I'm not seeing any more come in. So that means you did a great job and you answered everything before they had time to ask.
I have one
Success.
comment or a
Yeah.
question. Um, it might be a good idea, and I might be stepping over the line, but I'm wondering if you could do or would do, or maybe already have some sort of a form that people, manufacturers could sign up and say, we're inquiring about lockout tagout. Is there anybody else
Mm-hmm.
that might be looking at lockout tagout and be able to build an opportunity, whether it's with MassMEP or with directly with safety trainers, to say, okay, we've got all these different courses. People, please send in your inquiry here and let's build a consortium grant. Because one year, it wasn't this year, it was last year, I believe we trained at MassMeet 400 people with a full grant.
Yeah.
That's a lot of training and a
Yeah.
lot of people that got the benefit of training that otherwise wouldn't have received.
Yeah.
And I think if there's a way to organize that, it might be very helpful to people on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that
That's
nice for me to make work for you?
yeah. 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 I appreciate that, Marianne.
I'm
I'll
sure.
take that one offline with you.
We're trying to get them in any way we can.
Yeah, no, we definitely will do and share the information the best way that we possibly can so that it makes sense for the manufacturers. It'll be in our newsline and that will go out at the end of May, and then we'll do an e-blast that will go out in the middle of June as like a last minute reminder to
Sure.
everyone. And that's definitely something where we pair up with Darcy and her team.
Mhm.
They were able to start being able to kind of take that over. So we'll make it work no matter what, and we'll definitely find a way. We're moving to a smaller space, so there is that as well. So unfortunately, we won't have the space to be able to train like we have in the past, but not 400 people. But we will do everything that we can to make sure that this gets out and that we get them in the hands of, if it's Darcy or if it's a provider that they choose that obviously operates in mass. We'll make sure that we get them on the right path for that. Absolutely. Um, Elizabeth, yes, we will be sharing the recording. This actually will live on our YouTube page, so you will get a link for that. So we'll share that with you at the end of this. And then great question from Noah. If my company has facilities in other states, are the out-of-state employees able to attend the Massachusetts training?
If you bring them to Massachusetts, we only do live trainings. Darcy alluded to this earlier. We are not an online video trainer. We are Massachusetts based, butts in the seats, instructor in the room. It's live. So we would allow for that.
Okay.
But your business has to be here and you have to be compliant and you have to be located in Massachusetts. And we were talking about where the funds come from. The funds come from a contribution on your workers' comp policy, which is why we make sure that you are compliant, that you're insured under Chapter 152. It's your money. We
Mm-hmm.
keep it here.
Mm-hmm.
We train the Massachusetts employees with your money, and we use Massachusetts-based trainers who are also supporting the state.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we would allow you to bring them here.
All right. There you go. I'm going to assume, and I think that's probably pretty common because of us being obviously in the New England territory. There's probably a lot that are, they have an operation in Mass and they may have one in Rhode Island or Vermont or New Hampshire, or Connecticut. So yeah, definitely that will work. So all right. Well, I think we are good to go. So thanks as always, ladies, for doing this. We will have this posted on our YouTube channel and we'll send a follow-up email out to everyone so that they want to share this. They'll be able to share this. Darcy has a safety vest on, which means she's actually in a manufacturer right now doing a training. So I know she has to get back to that training, but we'll give everybody 11 minutes back. You can put it on your timesheet that you were in here till 11. Nobody will be the wiser. We'll keep that between all of us. But thanks for joining us and good luck. And I hope everybody gets their funding and gets safe out there.
Thank you for having us. We hope to see you in FY27.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Mm, Okay, okay, okay. Okay. I think, yep, everybody's gone. Oh, I was like, oh, Marianne, what are you doing right now?
Edit the end.
Right at the end, too. I was like, like we are maxed, like a max lady, a
Mhm.
max. I know, and it was great and it did work until it didn't. And now we just don't have capacity. And I don't think you guys do either.
We are like busting at the
Yeah,
seams right
yeah,
now. Busting
yeah.
at the seams. 11 of us, and we're just,
Shit,
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a
yeah,
lot. And I think
yeah.
and that's why we can't, like, we're fine. We'll get the information out. We'll share it. We'll tell everybody because it is important for them to do this. But at the same time, like, yeah, we can't, I can only do so far. Um, and that's kind of why it's a lot of work,
Mhm.
you know? We tried to do it together. Then we knew we couldn't do it anymore. Then you guys tried to do it. And then you guys were like, it's a lot of, and she's right, it's babysitting.
Hurting, it's right. Hurting cats.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was like, I couldn't believe she said that. You know, that would be great if I'm like, who does she remind me of? Like, like almost like Lucille Ball kind of ish, right?
Awesome. Like, she's just bold and big, and like she gets called into the principal's office more times, like for things that she says. She's like, I got called in again. I was like, all right, well, you're still there, Marianne. She's like, yep, I got called in again. She goes, my mouth's getting me in trouble again. Like, she's hilarious.
I love it. And I think that's why I'm like, she's like a kindred spirit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is great. I love people that are like that too, because it just lines right up with me. And yeah, I get the same thing. I get called into the office.
Don't we all?
I'm
Maybe
like,
that.
yeah, whatever. I'll be nice. I'll be quiet for a couple of months and then it'll slowly work its way back up again. But yeah, that happens all the time. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, I think yeah, when she said that, I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank God there was only there were 7 people in here. One person left. I'll send you the list so you'll see who it
Okay,
is. And then 6 people stayed the whole time, which is
great,
great. Yeah.
great. I
So it's
mean,
good.
we'll do a ton for them in the next 30 days, right? And
Right.
we have a massive pipeline that we have to build out too, or whatever. So
Okay. Okay.
we got this, but thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I will send you guys over the list. I'll send it to her as well, but I think it'll mostly be just
Great.
in case because they probably will be connecting with you. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll get the money spent. I actually made a note I wrote down like I probably could add it to our website because we have funding sources and on the bottom we have different funding opportunities and maybe I'll create a bucket for that and let it sit for the month of June and then I'll get rid of it on the 30th. I'll dump it off the
Yep.
site. So
Yep.
then at least it's on there.
Right.
And then I will put it in the newsline for at the end of May. I should have put it in for this past one, but I mean, since Kevin's not here anymore, I'm doing all the old work and I'm like, I hate this. I'm like, I've I've moved on from that stuff. And so I'm back in here and I'm like, oh shit, making mistakes all over again. Like just because it's
Right.
not
You don't
part
do it
of my
every day, right?
yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is all, even social media. I'm like, oh, I hate it.
Like you said, move it on.
I know. I'm like, isn't there somebody else that can do this stuff? So yeah. So we're trying to, so it's been tough, but I should have thought about it and I did. I'd put the webinar in, but I didn't think about putting like the grant in. But I'll do that for the May. It'll be fine. It'll go in our May newsletter. So
You'll
it'll
love
be
it.
good. Yeah. It'll be good.
You'll appreciate it.
Okay, well, have fun.
Bye.
Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
All
Bye.
right. Bye, Darcy.